there's the transcendence and the immanence of God. And God dwells with every moment with us. And therefore it can be like what we do. God didn't know we were going to do that, dwelling with us every moment, because he's living in the immanence of our relationship with him. But there's a sense where God is transcendent outside of time and space, but that is always in the now. I don't believe the future exists yet. So I don't believe in this continuum of, oh, well, it's already happened, therefore it's, and I know people say, well, I've been to 2056 and I've seen what it's like. I don't believe they've been to 2056, because I don't believe you can travel in time into the future, because it doesn't exist yet, because we've not created it yet. But what I believe is God can bring and release his desires for the future, to which then we can come into agreement for the establishing of his desires for the future. But that isn't foreknowledge. That is an expression of his desire, which we can come into agreement with so it can be established. And I know this is sort of a difficult one. That's how God has shown it to me. I know other people have different views of that, and well, God is sovereign and it's all going to work out. Well, that's just, for me, it's just like a Muslim theology of, well, if it happens, it must have been God. Well, I don't believe that at all. Most things that happen are because of us. So I personally do not believe that the future exists. But the time frame here may be different from the time frame that's operating in the spiritual realms. So there may be, even if that realm was ahead of this realm, or the speed of light was faster there, so time was different there than it is now, there is the possibility that there may be some way of seeing or interpreting what's going on. But the way God's shown me is that the eternal now is now. It's not the future. It's not the past. It's now. That includes everything that has happened, because it is history. And you can go back and you can see it and you can engage in it, and you could be used in it by going in to the eternal now from our moment. Let's say we go into the eternal now in 2024 and we have access to 1856, and God uses us in 1856 when we've accessed the eternal now in 2024. That immediately we were used in it. We didn't change it from the perspective of it happened and we changed it. We were used in it.
Yeah.
So if I was used in 1856, when I in whenever we are now, 2024, I didn't change what happened in 1826 from my history. I was used in that history. So it became history in my involvement in it. And everything I do and everything we choose and every decision we make becomes history as soon as we choose it and make it. We're not there yet, and they're not there yet. They don't exist yet. But they could be used in our past, because they are now entering into the now, but it doesn't mean that it exists yet. And there are lots of paradoxes around the thought of it all, which, would take, a lot of, sort of intellectual understanding. So I try and tension was that within a generation that this old system would come to an end.
Okay.
So you could say that was in alignment with the intention, but it wasn't specifically exactly already in existence and already happened. God was showing what was going to happen from his desire, and that people had to come into agreement with that desire for it to happen. And ultimately, if those Christians had chosen to stay in Jerusalem, they would have died with everyone else in Jerusalem, even though God didn't intend them to, and God had warned them not to. But they listened to, when you see these things begin to happen, come out. So it is difficult, and foreknowledge, being in the eternal now, it's a complicated subject, and I can't say I understand it totally fully. I just don't think the future exists in a way which means it's fixed and rigid and doesn't have our involvement in it. You know, and you could say, well, God knows what you're going to do, so he's only basically saying what this future is going to be based on what he knows you're going to do. You know, and you could say, well, okay, but that means we're already going to do it, and we've got no choice. It's going to happen because we're going to choose that regardless, without God being able to help us make a better choice. Because if it was set, there would be no choice. Any of us, we'd just be living in fate. It is all agreed. Okay. You could say God is omniscient within the restrictions he's operated in.
Yeah.
What he's chosen to operate in, but not beyond that. I mean, it's what God has chosen to operate in, and he's chosen to operate within the context of us. So he doesn't manipulate us and control us into what we do. Transcendence and immanence. There's a sense where God is in the eternal now, but I don't believe the eternal now contains a fixed future. But he's living with us in every moment. But within that, God is capable of taking everything that we do and bringing good out of it. There's a sense where God's at work with us in this.
Well, that's where I come back to. I don't understand or know anything. You know?
Well, no, I don't know anything either. You know, and in a sense, these are questions to ponder and to engage with God and to engage with time as a being, to begin to understand how we can work in cooperation with God as co-heirs and co-creators to establish and outwork God's heart. See, I believe that Jesus only did what he saw the Father doing. But did the Father show him, you've got to heal this person this way, this way, this way, this way? I don't believe that's how it worked. I believe Jesus knew the Father's heart in relationship and outworked the Father's heart through his creative choice, to which God gives us the same creative choice as sons to outwork his heart in the way that we
flow with the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, in a way we choose creatively to do it. Therefore, he has made everyone uniquely to make choices to outwork who they are. And therefore, if I did something and you did something, we may do it differently, but get the same result. But it's the result that matters, not how it works.
Yes.
Because God's heart is someone got healed. Jesus spoke to them, they got healed. Jesus laid hands on them, they got healed. Jesus anointed them with spit and they got healed. The point was God's desire was they would be healed. Not that he gave Jesus a absolutely prescriptive way of dealing with it every day.
Yes.
Because that really is just like, well, Jesus is a robot then, just doing what he was programmed by God to do. No, because Jesus was involved in choice and creative choice as the model of our sonship. For us to see, we have creative choice to outwork God's heart. And God has given us creativity to be able to express. So if we were both to say, we're going to seek God about designing something for the future, let's say we're going to design somewhere where we're going to live, I guarantee what you design would look very differently what I would design, but they will both be somewhere we could live in the future. Because we are designed in the image of God to be creative, but with choice in how we express that creativity. And God actually rejoices in the diversity of our choices and loves the fact that we are different and celebrates our differences. But that doesn't mean that we can't all come to the same ultimate conclusion of outworking God's heart, but not in a fixed, rigid, limited, restricted, robotic way. If we trust him and we trust him to provide for us, protect us, and guide us and direct us, then all we have to do is keep walking with him every day in that trusting relationship.
And he'll let us know.
Yeah. And if there's something he wants us to do as part of that, he can show us. You know, rather than, oh, well, God will do it all, or we'll do it all. No, we're doing it with him in relationship rather than independently of him. That's why it's got to be relational. and heart-to-heart relationship of intimacy where we know his heart. Trusting in God, the more we mature, the more God trusts us to outwork his heart, and the more leeway he gives us within that outworking, because he knows that we know his heart, because we're aligned with his heart. And therefore, I think he'll trust us more and more. If you enjoy these videos, would you please take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe? It really does help. Thank you very much.